Aging is an inevitable natural process, and when well managed, it can be one of the most fulfilling stages of life. However, there is a weight that many people carry beyond their years, the weight of their own body. And when we talk about excess weight in old age, we are not discussing appearance but health, mobility, autonomy, and above all, longevity. As the decades go by, the human body undergoes profound physiological changes. Basal metabolic rate decreases, hormone production changes, muscle mass is progressively lost, and appetite often remains the same or even increases due to emotional, social, or informational factors. In this context, maintaining a healthy weight becomes more than a choice. It becomes a vital necessity to ensure quality of life after the age of 60. Obesity in the elderly is not a detail or a minor discomfort. Today, it is one of the main secondary causes of preventable deaths among older adults. Studies published by institutions such as the World Health Organization and Harvard University show that elderly individuals with obesity are at significantly higher risk of developing cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, hypertension, sleep apnea, severe arthritis, accelerated loss of mobility, and even dementia. Worse, many of these conditions are interconnected, forming a vicious cycle in which obesity feeds the diseases, and the diseases make weight loss even harder. The result is a process of physical and mental decline that in many cases could have been avoided or postponed for decades through simple lifestyle changes. It is essential to understand that losing weight in old age is not about achieving an ideal body, but rather about achieving a functional body. A body that allows climbing stairs without pain, walking with ease, playing with grandchildren, sleeping well, maintaining independence, avoiding falls, and most importantly, staying away from hospitalizations and heavy medication. In many cases, losing just 5 to 10% of total body weight already has a massive impact on glucose levels, blood pressure, breathing, and joint function. Every kilogram lost, when lost safely and healthily, represents a gain in energy, self-esteem, and freedom. Still, despite all these benefits, a powerful stigma remains. Many older adults believe it's no longer worth it, that losing weight is for the young, or that it's too late to change. This mindset is an invisible but powerful obstacle. The truth is, it is never too late to care for the body. And modern science proves that even people over 80 can reap metabolic and functional benefits when losing weight properly. The key lies in how it's done, with safety, proper guidance, respect for limitations, and a focus on health, not aesthetic sacrifice. This video is an invitation to realistic transformation, grounded in science, focused on elderly health. Step by step, we'll explore what really works, what science says about weight loss after 60, what traps to avoid, what kind of diet is truly beneficial, which foods to prioritize, how physical activity should be adapted to different conditions, and what practical steps actually lead to fat loss and a more active, happy, and long life. This is not about miracle promises or impossible challenges. It's a rational, human, and attainable plan, even for those who've spent decades struggling with weight. The good news is that the aging body, when cared for properly, responds, and often in surprising ways. With clarity, calm, and respect for your pace, we'll show that losing weight after 60 is not a fantasy. It's a real and often necessary choice. Your journey begins now. The aging of the human body is a complex, profound, and inevitable process, but also predictable. After the age of 60, silent physiological changes begin to directly affect weight, energy, and how the body handles food and physical effort. The first critical point in this transformation is metabolism. The so-called basal metabolic rate, the amount of energy the body uses at rest, decreases significantly. This means that older adults burn fewer calories just to maintain basic functions like breathing, circulation, and digestion. As a result, the same meal that was once easily processed now contributes to fat accumulation, even if the portion size hasn't increased. Beyond metabolism, hormones play a decisive role. In women, the sharp drop in estrogen after menopause leads to increased abdominal fat, redistribution of body fat, and progressive bone loss. In men, the gradual decline of testosterone contributes to reduced strength, vitality, libido, and increased body fat. Both sexes also experience changes in insulin, cortisol, and leptin, hormones that regulate hunger, satiety, stress, and fat storage. These hormonal shifts make weight loss more challenging and, at the same time, make excess weight more dangerous. One of the most critical and least discussed factors is sarcopenia, the loss of muscle mass associated with aging. From the age of 50, it's estimated that people lose 1% to 2% of muscle per year if there is no proper stimulus. Why is this important? Because muscle is one of the main engines of calorie burn. The less muscle mass the body has, the fewer calories it burns, even at rest. This creates a negative cycle. Less muscle means lower energy expenditure, which facilitates weight gain, and weight gain, in turn, makes movement more difficult, which accelerates muscle loss. It's a silent spiral, but destructive. Digestion also changes. With aging, the production of stomach acid decreases, which affects the absorption of nutrients such as vitamin B12, iron, calcium, and zinc. The intestines may also become slower, affecting gut microbiota and making it harder to eliminate toxins and fat. Furthermore, many seniors have a reduced perception of thirst and true hunger, confusing physiological signals with anxiety, boredom, or emotional imbalance. This often leads to overeating or over-reliance on ultra-processed foods, which worsens weight gain. The emotional impact of these physiological changes must also be considered. Many seniors face physical limitations, joint pain, loneliness, grief, and a sense of social irrelevance. These unresolved emotions frequently translate into food compensation. Food becomes company, comfort, or distraction. In a body that's slower and less capable of managing calorie surpluses, this behavior becomes a serious risk factor for obesity. Understanding these changes, slower metabolism, hormonal shifts, muscle loss, compromised digestion, and misdirected emotions, makes it clear that weight loss after 60 must follow different rules. Extreme diets, unsupervised intense workouts, and rapid weight loss methods are not only ineffective, they can be dangerous. The path must be adapted, respectful, focused on functional nutrition, muscle preservation, emotional balance, and sustainable long-term strategies. The good news is that all of these processes, even if already underway, can be slowed or reversed with the right strategy. It's possible to reactivate metabolism, naturally boost hormones, build muscle, improve digestion, and transform the relationship with food. When the body understands it can still be healthy, and the senior realizes they can still be strong, light, and active, weight loss becomes not only feasible, but deeply rewarding. Aging is inevitable. Physical decline is not. Obesity is now considered one of the most serious non-infectious pandemics in the world. But what often goes unnoticed is that its effects are even more devastating when linked to aging. The elderly body, more fragile and with a reduced ability to regenerate, suffers amplified consequences from excess fat. According to recent data from the World Health Organization, more than 30% of people over the age of 60 are overweight, and a large portion of them already show symptoms or diagnoses related to chronic comorbidities. In practice, this means millions of older adults live imprisoned in their own bodies, limited, medicated, in constant pain, and with reduced mobility as a direct result of accumulated body fat over the years. Obesity in old age is strongly linked to the development of cardiovascular diseases. The heart, which already operates more slowly and less efficiently with age, is forced to pump blood through a larger, heavier, and more inflamed body. This raises the risk of hypertension, heart failure, and heart attacks. Abdominal fat, especially visceral fat, which wraps around internal organs, is a silent bomb affecting the liver, kidneys, and pancreas. The most common result is insulin resistance, which leads to type 2 diabetes. Diabetes, in turn, accelerates cellular aging, impairs vision, hinders wound healing, and increases the risk of amputations and strokes. Another serious consequence often overlooked is the link between obesity and musculoskeletal disorders. Excess weight on joints, already weakened by time, leads to chronic pain, severe osteoarthritis, and limb deformities. This reduces the ability to walk, climb stairs, or even stand up from a chair unassisted. Loss of autonomy in these cases is progressive and often irreversible. Seniors with severe obesity have an increased risk of falls, fractures, and hospitalizations. And contrary to popular belief, falls in older adults are not simple events. They often result in extended hospitalization, permanent immobility, or even death from secondary complications. The risks go beyond the physical. Obesity also compromises respiratory function. With the diaphragm pressed by abdominal fat, lung capacity is reduced, leading to sleep apnea, shortness of breath while walking, and persistent fatigue. Poor nighttime oxygenation caused by apnea is directly related to cognitive decline, memory loss, irritability, depression, and increased risk of dementia. Furthermore, there is a deep social and psychological impact. Many obese older adults develop isolation, shame about their bodies, feelings of uselessness, and even depressive thoughts related to self-image and social roles. Scientific studies clearly show that obesity, especially in the elderly, is associated with metabolic syndrome, a cluster of risk factors including abdominal obesity, elevated triglycerides, high blood pressure, high blood sugar, and low HDL cholesterol. This combination triples the risk of fatal cardiovascular events, and unlike what some believe, the effects aren't just long-term. In a matter of months, obesity can accelerate the deterioration of vital functions in older adults, already weakened by other health factors. However, there is no point of no return. Science has proven that even a modest weight loss of 5% to 10% of total body weight can lead to significant improvements in blood sugar, blood pressure, respiratory function, and even cognition. When done correctly, weight loss can reduce medication needs, restore mobility, relieve chronic pain, and improve overall quality of life. Obesity is indeed a serious problem, but it is also a problem with real solutions, and those solutions begin with the right information, a shift in mindset, and above all, continuous and safe action. The body may be aging, but the decision to care for it is always current. With the right knowledge and steps, you can turn the tide even after 60, 70, or 80, because living with health is not a matter of youth, it is a matter of priority. Inside the human body exists a silent fat, invisible to the eyes, but deadly in its action. It's known as visceral fat, a type of adipose tissue that accumulates deep in the abdominal cavity, surrounding essential organs like the liver, pancreas, kidneys, and intestines. Unlike subcutaneous fat, which sits just beneath the skin and affects appearance, visceral fat alters the body's internal function. In old age, when the body already operates with a smaller safety margin, this type of fat becomes an alarming risk factor, often underestimated, even by health professionals. Visceral fat is biologically active. It's not just stored in the body, it releases inflammatory substances and dysfunctional hormones that alter metabolism, promote insulin resistance, and maintain a state of chronic inflammation. This silent process disrupts the cardiovascular system, raises blood pressure, increases blood sugar levels, and boosts the risk of conditions like atherosclerosis, heart attack, and stroke. Recent studies from Mayo Clinic and the University of Cambridge show that visceral fat, even in individuals with a normal BMI, is a stronger predictor of early mortality than overall weight. In other words, someone can appear slim and still be metabolically at risk due to hidden fat. In old age, the situation worsens for two main reasons. First, there is a natural redistribution of fat with age. Even people who were lean throughout their lives may begin accumulating fat around the abdomen after 60. Second, the loss of muscle mass aggravates this imbalance because muscle helps regulate glucose and fat metabolism. Less muscle, more visceral fat. And more visceral fat means more inflammation and metabolic dysfunction. Beyond cardiovascular impact, visceral fat severely affects the liver. Many overweight seniors develop non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, a condition that can progress silently into liver inflammation, fibrosis, cirrhosis, and even liver cancer. Visceral fat also presses on the intestines and kidneys, disrupting digestion and filtration. Over time, this leads to chronic constipation, fluid retention, bloating, and abdominal discomfort. Symptoms often dismissed as just part of aging, but in truth, signs of dangerous internal fat buildup. The brain also suffers. Systemic inflammation caused by visceral fat is linked to Alzheimer's and other dementias. Neuroscience has confirmed that high levels of circulating inflammatory cytokines affect cognition, memory, and mood. In genetically predisposed seniors, this can accelerate neurodegeneration. That rounded belly, often regarded with humor or resignation, may hide a grim reality: the accelerated aging of the brain and body. The good news is that visceral fat responds well to the right interventions. Unlike stubborn localized fat, visceral fat is usually the first to shrink when healthy lifestyle changes are made. Daily walks, fiber-rich foods, cutting out sugar and processed foods, proper hydration and muscle-strengthening exercises are proven strategies to reduce visceral fat. Even small losses, 2 to 5 kilograms, can greatly improve lab results and organ function. It's essential to let go of the idea that a belly is normal in old age, or that everyone gains weight with age. What's common isn't always healthy. Understanding the dangerous nature of visceral fat is the first step toward informed action. It's not about appearance. It's about inflammation, dysfunction, and risk of early death. And with consistent, simple choices adapted to the elderly body, this invisible enemy can be defeated. The heart, brain, and organs will thank you. And life will feel lighter, inside and out. Trendy diets are tempting because they promise speed, simplicity, and visible results in a short time. For a senior tired of struggling with weight or feeling pressured by medical exams, the promise of losing 5 kilos in a week, flattening the belly with detox juice, or eating all the fat you want and still losing weight can sound like salvation. But the aging body does not respond like a young body. With a slower metabolism, less muscle, altered kidney function, multiple medications, and chronic conditions, seniors are less tolerant to dietary extremes. What causes temporary discomfort in a younger adult can lead to low blood pressure, hypoglycemia, muscle loss, electrolyte imbalances, constipation, arrhythmias, or hospitalization in an elderly person. Most fad diets rely on abrupt calorie restriction, or the total elimination of entire food groups. When the cut is too drastic, the body begins to burn muscle for energy. For older adults already experiencing sarcopenia, this means rapid weakness, instability, higher fall risk, and a further drop in basal metabolic rate, exactly the opposite of what's needed for sustainable weight loss. Another issue is low nutrient density. Replacing meals with sugary shakes or diluted soups often leads to protein deficiencies, B vitamin shortages, and lack of calcium, magnesium, zinc, and fiber, impairing muscles, bones, immunity, and digestion. Highly restrictive low-carb diets, like extreme versions of keto or DIY paleo, may lead to quick weight loss in the short term, but they come with risks when done without professional supervision. In seniors taking insulin or hypoglycemic medications, sudden carb restriction can cause dangerous blood sugar drops. In those with kidney problems, replacing carbs with excess protein can worsen renal function. If appetite is irregular, many seniors simply give up on the diet and return to processed foods, resulting in weight regain and emotional frustration. This yo-yo effect speeds up muscle loss, disrupts hunger and fullness hormones, and increases belly fat. Another dangerous trend: detox diets and extreme fasting. Cutting nearly all calories or fasting for long periods may cause dizziness, dehydration, confusion, and lean mass loss. Many elderly people take diuretics, blood pressure medications, or heart drugs, and without proper nutrition, their absorption and effectiveness change, increasing risk. Detoxes made from green juices typically lack protein, compromising immunity and tissue repair. Then there's adherence. Trendy diets are, by definition, temporary. Seniors need predictable routines, enjoyable food, social inclusion, and affordability. Eating separately from the family, weighing every bite, or following endless no lists leads to diet dropout. Once abandoned, old habits return, often with binging and even more weight gain because metabolism has slowed down during restriction. Instead of chasing trends, what works for seniors is gradual, nutrient-rich adjustment. A small calorie deficit, 300-500 calories below daily expenditure, high-quality protein distributed throughout the day, fiber-rich foods, vegetables, legumes, low glycemic fruits, moderate healthy fats, olive oil, fatty fish, nuts, reduced sugars and processed foods, and consistent hydration form the foundation. When necessary, supervised supplements, vitamin D, calcium, omega-3, isolated protein, may be added. Warning signs that a diet is inappropriate include rapid weight loss, more than 1% body weight per week, growing weakness, dizziness, frequent falls, mood swings, constipation, swelling, or mental confusion. In polypharmacy patients, dietary changes must be shared with a doctor. Food impacts how drugs work. Trendy diets offer shortcuts, but the aging body needs a safe, gradual bridge. The goal is not to be beach body ready, but to keep organs functioning, preserve muscle, reduce inflammation, and reclaim autonomy. With the right mindset, results may be slower, but they will be stable, visible, and life-changing. In the journey of weight loss during aging, one of the most underestimated yet decisive nutrients is protein. For seniors, protein is more than just a building block for muscles. It's a metabolic guardian, a hunger regulator, and a fundamental ally in maintaining independence and preventing hospitalizations. The aging body experiences a natural and progressive reduction in muscle mass, a phenomenon known as sarcopenia. And without protein, there is no muscle preservation. In addition, protein is the macronutrient that provides greater satiety. That is, when well distributed throughout the day, it reduces hunger, stabilizes blood sugar, and prevents binges, all without needing restrictive diets or constant calorie counting. Protein digestion also has a thermogenic effect. The body uses more energy to process protein than it does for carbohydrates or fats. That means a higher metabolic rate, even while resting, and better hormonal balance. However, many older adults unknowingly consume far less protein than they need. A coffee with toast in the morning, soup for lunch, and rice with a little shredded chicken at dinner is not enough to maintain muscle tissue in a 70-year-old. The recommendation for the elderly is 1.2 to 1.5 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day, a value well above what most ingest. Beyond quantity, the timing and quality of protein also matter. It's not enough to eat 100 grams of chicken at dinner. The ideal is to distribute protein intake across 3 main meals, with at least 25 to 30 grams in each one. Eggs, lean meats, fish, dairy, tofu, legumes, and, when necessary, whey or plant-based protein supplements are excellent options. Combining protein with fiber, such as beans with brown rice or chicken with steamed broccoli, extends satiety even further. The result is fewer cravings, fewer blood sugar spikes, and less emotional eating. Another critical point is chewing and food consistency. Many elderly people eat fast, swallow poorly chewed food, or prefer soft, low-protein meals like pasta, white bread, or pastries. Stimulating, mindful chewing not only improves digestion, but also sends satiety signals to the brain. Choosing solid foods with protein, such as a boiled egg or a turkey slice, is more satiating than drinking a fruit juice, even if both meals have the same calories. It's also important to break the myth that eating less means eating salads and skipping meals. For older adults, eating less with quality means eating with structure and satisfaction. A balanced plate with protein, good fats, and fiber satisfies with fewer calories and without the stress of hunger or guilt. And the most beautiful part is that a satiety is not restrictive, it is protective. A well-fed older adult loses weight safely, with fewer mood swings, more energy, and better results on tests. Seniors don't need to starve to lose weight. They need to eat better. And it starts with what builds them from the inside out: protein. When it comes to losing weight after 60, many people think first of cutting calories or exercising more. But the human body is much more complex, and one of the most overlooked pillars of weight regulation in old age is gut health. Inside the intestine live trillions of bacteria, forming what science calls the gut microbiota. This invisible community plays a decisive role in metabolism, inflammation control, hormone production, and even appetite regulation. In other words, an unbalanced gut sabotages your weight loss no matter how much you try. With aging, the gut becomes more vulnerable. Transit slows down. Constipation becomes more frequent. The diversity of beneficial bacteria drops, and the intestinal wall becomes more permeable, allowing toxic substances to leak into the bloodstream, a condition known as leaky gut syndrome. This triggers a state of chronic inflammation that not only makes it harder to lose fat, but also increases the risk of diabetes, depression, joint pain, and cognitive decline. One of the most powerful ways to care for the gut and promote weight loss is fiber intake. Soluble and insoluble fibers help regulate transit, feed beneficial bacteria, trap toxins and cholesterol, and increase satiety. When a senior eats more fiber, they don't just go to the bathroom more. They balance their metabolism, reduce inflammation, and lower visceral fat. Foods like oats, chia, flaxseed, lentils, beans, apples, pears, and cooked vegetables should be part of every main meal. Along with fiber, hydration is fundamental. Without enough water, fiber can have the opposite effect: hard stools, gas, and intestinal discomfort. After age 60, the thirst mechanism becomes less sensitive, and many elderly people don't realize they're dehydrated. Dry mouth, headaches, tiredness, or dark urine are warning signs. To function well, the intestine needs a steady flow of fluid to help form stool and carry away toxins. A well-hydrated body burns fat more efficiently, regulates hunger hormones like ghrelin and leptin, and protects the kidneys. There's also the emotional side of gut health. The gut communicates with the brain through what science calls the gut-brain axis. A balanced microbiota can improve mood, reduce anxiety, and promote better sleep, all of which are essential for emotional control and avoiding overeating. Depression and sadness in the elderly are often linked to keto, poor gut function, something that can be reversed with simple nutritional strategies. And don't forget, prebiotics and probiotics. Natural sources like kefir, yogurt, fermented vegetables, onions, garlic, and asparagus help restore bacterial diversity. Supplementation may be useful in cases of long-term antibiotic use, constipation, or immunosuppression, but always under guidance. A good gut doesn't just digest food. It all decides whether you gain or lose weight, whether you sleep well or wake up tired, whether you age well or with pain. Caring for the intestine is not just a digestive issue. It's a matter of longevity, weight, immunity, and mental clarity. And it starts with your plate and your glass of water. When we talk about physical activity for seniors, many imagine gyms, complex routines, or intimidating equipment. But science is increasingly clear. The most accessible, powerful, and transformative exercise for people over 60 is walking. Yes, walking, simple, daily, consistent walking, is capable of improving cardiovascular health, reducing visceral fat, preserving muscle, stimulating the brain, and restoring autonomy to the elderly. A brisk 30-minute daily walk increases blood flow, strengthens the heart, lowers blood pressure, and improves cholesterol and glucose levels. For those with joint pain or limited mobility, walking can be adapted. Even 10 minutes 3 times a day has measurable effects. What matters is consistency. Unlike intense workouts, which often lead to fatigue or injury in older bodies, walking respects the natural rhythm of aging without overloading the joints or causing stress. Walking also stimulates lymphatic circulation, improving immunity and reducing fluid retention. For those who suffer from swelling in the legs or ankles, walking is the safest natural solution. The gut brain also thanks you. During walks, the body produces endorphins and BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, substances that protect neurons, improve mood, and reduce the risk of depression and cognitive decline. Seniors who walk regularly experience better memory, more stable emotions, and greater decision-making agility. In terms of weight loss, walking contributes in 2 decisive ways. First, it increases energy expenditure without increasing hunger. That is, it helps burn fat without triggering compensatory cravings. Second, it stimulates muscle preservation, especially in the legs, glutes, and core, which helps keep the metabolism active. Combined with a protein-rich and fiber-rich diet, walking becomes a metabolic catalyst for safe and sustainable weight loss. Psychologically, daily walking creates a health ritual. Leaving the house, breathing fresh air, interacting with the neighborhood, or simply listening to music while moving, all of this strengthens the commitment to health. The routine reinforces identity. I am someone who takes care of myself, and this mental identity is more powerful than any diet. Moreover, walking improves sleep quality, which in turn regulates hunger and satiety hormones, another indirect but crucial factor in weight control. There's no need for special shoes, gym memberships, or perfect weather. Walking is democratic. It respects limitations, adapts to pace, and fits into any schedule. For those with balance issues, walking indoors or with support is already valuable. For those with caregivers, walking together strengthens bonds. And for the lonely, it is an opportunity for a reconnection with the world. Walking is not just moving your legs, it is an act of healing, a tool for longevity, a silent therapy for the body and mind. In old age, where each step matters, walking daily is a statement. I choose to move forward with lightness, strength, and purpose. When the goal is to lose weight after 60, many people focus only on what they eat or how much they move, but often overlook one of the most powerful metabolic tools of all: sleep. Yes, sleep. A night of poor sleep can completely sabotage the following day's weight control. And in the elderly, where sleep already tends to be lighter and shorter, optimizing rest is not just about comfort. It's about burning fat, preserving muscle, regulating appetite, and reducing inflammation. Scientific studies show that when someone sleeps less than 6 hours, there is a significant increase in ghrelin, the hunger hormone, and a drop in leptin, the satiety hormone. That means more hunger and less satisfaction with food, which leads to overeating, especially sugar and fat cravings. In addition, sleep deprivation increases the production of cortisol, a stress hormone that favors belly fat accumulation, worsens insulin sensitivity, and accelerates muscle loss. That's why sleeping poorly not only causes tiredness, it makes the body to store more fat and lose strength. After 60, sleep becomes more fragmented. Melatonin production drops, pain increases, nighttime urination becomes frequent, and anxiety or depression can further disrupt rest. The result is a restless night and a day full of yawns, irritability, poor memory, and a desire to snack to stay awake. But it doesn't have to be that way. By adopting sleep-friendly habits, it's possible to reverse this cycle and turn rest into a weight loss ally. Some practical strategies include establishing a fixed sleep schedule, avoiding screens, TV, cell phones, 1 hour before bed, dimming lights in the evening, avoiding stimulants like coffee after 4 p.m., and creating a calming bedtime routine, like listening to relaxing music, drinking a warm herbal tea, or taking a warm shower. Also important is exposing yourself to natural light in the morning, which helps regulate the circadian rhythm. The bedroom environment also plays a key role. The place where you sleep should be dark, cool, quiet, and cozy. Heavy curtains, comfortable mattresses, and silence or white noise can make a huge difference. Seniors who sleep better not only lose weight faster, they cease to have fewer falls, better immunity, sharper memory, and more motivation to stay active. It's also worth remembering that certain medications interfere with sleep, such as diuretics, beta blockers, corticosteroids, and some antidepressants. In these cases, a doctor should adjust dosages or times, and in situations of insomnia or restless sleep, natural supplements like melatonin, magnesium, or valerian can be considered, but always under medical guidance. Sleeping well is not a luxury. It is a hormonal treatment, a metabolic reset, and a pillar of healthy aging. For the elderly, every quality night of sleep is an investment in body balance and emotional peace. If you want to lose weight and live longer, start with your pillow. When we talk about weight loss, many people think of aesthetics or clothing sizes. But in old age, losing weight is not about vanity. It's about survival. Each kilo lost can represent years of life gained, complications avoided, and independence preserved. Obesity in the elderly is not a matter of appearance. It is a medical condition associated with more than 20 chronic diseases, from diabetes and hypertension to sleep apnea, arthritis, cancer, and dementia. A high body mass index, BMI, after age 60 is directly associated with reduced mobility, increased medication use, higher risk of falls, greater surgical complications, and lower quality of life. Excess weight compresses joints, increases inflammation, overloads the heart, and limits the ability to perform simple tasks, such as getting up from a chair, climbing stairs, or walking to the market. For many elderly people, losing 5 or 10 kilograms means regaining the ability to move, breathe better, and live without constant pain. Moreover, obesity increases the risk of insulin resistance and chronic inflammation, two silent processes that damage the body from within. An inflamed and overloaded organism is more susceptible to infections, cognitive decline, loss of muscle mass, sarcopenic obesity, and even depression. Many elderly people live in a vicious cycle. They gain weight, feel more tired, move less, gain more weight, and lose their self-esteem and desire to live. Breaking this cycle requires small but consistent steps, and the results are often surprising. Studies show that elderly people who lose weight improve their blood pressure, lower their blood sugar, reduce inflammatory markers, and report less pain and more vitality. More than that, they reduce their hospital visits, postpone dependence on others, and live with more dignity. It's not about becoming thin, it's about becoming stronger, lighter, more confident, and more autonomous. Every kilo lost is a burden that comes off the joints, the heart, and the soul. The elderly person who embarks on a safe and structured weight loss journey does not just change their body, they change their future. They reduce their chances of falling and fracturing a bone, improve their response to vaccines, increase their respiratory capacity, and regain control over their daily life. For women, it can mean less urinary incontinence. For men, better testosterone levels. And for all, more freedom and less fear. Losing weight after 60 is not giving up. It's a bold act of self-care. It's saying, I want to live better. And it is possible. With knowledge, support, nutrition, movement and rest, the elderly body responds. It heals, it rejuvenates, and it walks again, not toward old age, but toward a life of clarity, strength, and full autonomy. Eating well after the age of 60 doesn't have to mean strict diets, food restrictions, or painful sacrifices. On the contrary, the key to healthy aging lies in a balanced, realistic, and enjoyable diet. One that respects the culture, preferences, and pace of each elderly person. Food should not be a source of anxiety or guilt, but a daily tool of healing, energy, and satisfaction. Instead of adopting radical approaches like cutting all carbs, following fads like keto or detox, or skipping meals, the elderly person needs nutritional stability. That means creating a consistent routine of 3 balanced meals, and if needed, 1 or 2 light snacks. Each meal should contain 4 essential pillars: quality protein, good fat, fiber-rich carbohydrates, and color. Yes, color, because diversity on the plate means diversity in nutrients. A typical breakfast might include eggs or yogurt, oats or whole grain bread, fruits like banana or papaya, and a glass of water or herbal tea. Lunch and dinner should always contain a source of animal or plant protein: chicken, fish, eggs, lentils, tofu, whole grains, brown rice, quinoa, legumes, beans, chickpeas, and 2 portions of vegetables, preferably cooked and seasoned with olive oil. Avoiding deep-fried foods, processed meats, excess salt and sugar already produces a positive effect. No need for miracles. Snacks can include a fruit with nuts, plain yogurt, a boiled egg, or even a slice of cheese with a whole grain toast. Hydration is also part of nutrition. Seniors should aim to drink 6 to 8 glasses of water a day, even without thirst, since the natural thirst signal decreases with age. Soft drinks, processed juices, and excessive coffee should be minimized, and alcohol, preferably avoided, but if consumed, always in small doses and never on an empty stomach. One way to ensure adherence is by adapting traditional meals. A Brazilian elderly person doesn't have to give up beans and rice. They just need to increase the vegetable portion, reduce the amount of white rice, and cook with less oil. Soups, broths, vegetable purees, and oven-baked dishes are comforting and easy to chew. The important thing is that the food serves the body, not the other way around. Also, consider texture and appetite. Many elderly people have difficulty chewing or swallowing. In these cases, cooked vegetables, mashed foods, and moist preparations help. When there is no appetite, dividing meals into smaller portions or enriching them with healthy calories, such as olive oil, avocado, or eggs, can be the solution. And for those who live alone or don't like cooking, planning meals in advance or preparing food in batches can make the week easier. Eating well in old age is not about perfection. It's about consistency, love, and practicality. It's about discovering what nourishes you, what energizes you, and what makes you feel light and well. And above all, what you can repeat tomorrow. Without guilt, without fear, without punishment. Because food is not the enemy. It is your ally in the journey toward health, autonomy, and peace. In a world obsessed with fast results, losing weight slowly may sound like a failure. But for the elderly, it is the smartest and safest strategy. The aging body no longer has the same metabolic speed or recovery capacity as a 30-year-old. A drastic weight loss can weaken muscles, worsen the immune system, unbalance hormones, and even increase the risk of falls and hospitalization. That's why, for those over 60, losing weight slowly is not slowness, it's wisdom. Physiologically, a senior's body needs more time to adapt. Losing 500 grams to 1 kilogram per month is a healthy pace. In this rhythm, the body doesn't go into stress or survival mode. There's no nutritional shock, no sudden fatigue, no excessive hunger. On the contrary, by slowly creating a caloric deficit with quality food, movement, and sleep, the body begins to access its fat reserves safely and sustainably. More than just burning fat, slow weight loss preserves lean mass, which is essential in old age. Muscle is not just for aesthetics, it is what supports joints, stabilizes balance, prevents falls, and keeps metabolism active. If the weight loss is too fast, the elderly person may lose more muscle than fat, which is dangerous. For every kilo lost, it is important to ensure that the body maintains strength and energy. The psychological aspect is also crucial. Those who seek quick results tend to give up easily when they don't see rapid change. But those who understand the process and celebrate small progress, a better night's sleep, a looser waistband, a lighter morning, develop a healthy and lasting relationship with their body. In old age, patience is a virtue and also a method. Moreover, slow weight loss allows for habit consolidation. It gives the brain time to adapt to new routines, to associate food with nourishment instead of punishment, to enjoy walks instead of seeing them as obligation. That's what creates sustainable transformation. It's no use losing 10 kilos in 2 months and gaining 15 in 3. The elderly person who changes with awareness loses weight once and never needs to start over. Health is not a race. In aging, it is a marathon of care, balance, and respect for one's own pace. Losing weight slowly means honoring the body that has carried you through decades, recognizing its limits, and walking forward with gentleness. The results come in the mirror, in blood tests, in pain relief, in memory, and in regained confidence. What matters is not speed. What matters is to continue without fear, with lightness and purpose. You don't need a gym, fancy clothes, or special equipment to exercise after 60. In fact, many of the most effective and safest movements for seniors can be done right at home, with just a chair, a bottle of water, and a little motivation. Physical activity in old age is not about performance, it's about autonomy, mobility, and quality of life. Exercising at home is not only possible, it can be pleasant, accessible, and transformative. The first step is to overcome fear. Many seniors avoid physical activity because of fear of injury or pain, but the truth is that a sedentary lifestyle is much more dangerous. Lack of movement leads to muscle loss, worsens balance, increases joint stiffness, and accelerates aging. Simple exercises, when done correctly and regularly, reduce pain, improve circulation, increase energy, and enhance mental clarity. Among the best home exercises for seniors are sit-to-stand squats using a chair, which strengthen legs and improve balance, wall push-ups, which work the chest, arms, and shoulders, heel lifts, which activate the calves and improve circulation, and marching in place, which enhances coordination and cardiovascular endurance. Stretching is also fundamental. Shoulder rolls, neck tilts, and back twists improve flexibility and reduce tension. Another essential tip is to train balance. Standing on one foot, walking heel to toe in a straight line, or doing simple yoga poses by a wall. This prevents falls, strengthens the ankles, and restores confidence. Breathing exercises are also valuable. Inhaling deeply, holding briefly, and exhaling slowly promotes relaxation and oxygenation. Sessions don't have to be long. 15 to 30 minutes a day is enough. What matters is consistency. Put on comfortable clothes, open a window, turn on relaxing music, and move with intention. Respect your limits, never force pain, and listen to your body. Progress is felt in the small things. Climbing stairs without panting, carrying groceries with ease, or getting up from bed without help. If possible, invite someone to join you. Exercising in pairs increases motivation and creates accountability. Watching online videos tailored for seniors, using mobile apps with daily reminders, or keeping a physical activity journal are other useful strategies. The goal is not perfection, it's movement, connection, and care. Exercising at home is an act of freedom. It's saying that I want to stay active, I want to take care of myself, I want to move forward. Every drop of sweat is a message from your body, telling you it's alive, it's strong, and it's grateful. Move not because you have to, but because you deserve it. And the results will come in your muscles, your breath, your sleep, and your heart. It's not laziness, it's not weakness, it's not lack of willpower. What often prevents an elderly person from continuing their health journey is something deeper, self-sabotage. That subtle internal mechanism that whispers, "It won't work. You're too old. It's too late for you." These thoughts are not truth. They are echoes of fear, frustration, or past failures, and they can be unlearned. After the age of 60, motivation takes on new forms. It no longer comes from outside, from compliments, trends, or pressure. It comes from within, from the desire to live well with dignity, autonomy, and lucidity. But self-sabotage disguises itself. It appears as "just for today," as "I'm too tired," or as "I don't need this anymore." That's why creating rituals, not just goals around, is key. A daily walk, a morning fruit bowl, a journal of achievements. These habits create an emotional anchor. One way to combat sabotage is to recognize it. When you hear that internal voice pulling you back, don't fight it. Name it. There's my fear of failing again. There's my old belief that I don't deserve to be healthy. By naming it, you break the automatic reaction. You separate yourself from the thought. You create space for a new decision. Another strategy is to reconnect with purpose. Why do you want to lose weight? Why do you want to feel better? Maybe to play with grandchildren, to avoid surgeries, to have more independence. Keep this reason close. Write it on a note, put it on the fridge, speak it out loud. Purpose is the fire of persistence. Also, forgive yourself. If you overate, if you didn't exercise, if you gave up last time, you are not your past. You are not your weight. You are not your mistakes. Every day is a clean page, and your story is still being written, with strength, compassion, and wisdom. And finally, celebrate the small victories. Don't wait for the scale to approve your efforts. Celebrate a better night's sleep. Celebrate going upstairs without stopping. Celebrate saying no to excess sugar. Motivation doesn't come before action. It is born from the act itself. From the discipline of walking even when it rains. From the strength of cooking when you're tired. From the decision to take care of yourself because you are still alive and you still matter. The first 30 days are not about perfection. They are about commitment. Commitment to yourself, to your health, to your autonomy. Aging is not the end of the road. It is the moment when everything we lived begins to make sense, and transforming your lifestyle after 60 is not impossible. It is brave. It is urgent. It is necessary. That's why this 30-day plan is not a punishment or a challenge. It's an invitation to start slowly, safely, and lovingly. Week 1. Awareness and rhythm. You don't need to change everything. Just start observing. Drink more water. Add a fruit to breakfast. Walk around the house for 10 minutes in the morning. Write down your feelings in a notebook. Listen to your body. This first week is about reconnecting, rediscovering what makes you feel good. No guilt, no pressure. Week 2. Structure and simplicity. Create routines. Wake up at the same time. Plan your meals. Eliminate sodas and excess sugar. Add protein to every lunch. Try a new recipe. Do 15 minutes of movement every other day. Stretch. Take deep breaths. Celebrate every small effort. The second week is where you realize that change is possible, and it can be light. Week 3. Constancy and courage. Increase the walking time to 20 minutes. Replace white rice with brown rice at least twice. Avoid processed snacks. Sleep earlier. Reduce screen time at night. Write down what made you proud that day. The third week is when your mind begins to change and your body thanks you. Week 4, expansion and belief. Invite someone to walk with you. Try a light home workout. Eat 2 portions of vegetables per meal. Try cooking for the week. Make a health appointment. Organize your pantry. Dream about the next 30 days. This last week is not the end. It is the new beginning. The seed has been planted. You don't have to be fast. You don't have to do it all. You don't even have to get it right every day. What you must do is continue with love, with clarity, with intention. The future belongs to those who care for themselves now, and your body, your mind, and your spirit are ready for change, for vitality, for a new life, full, light, and free.